Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome to my channel. My name is Kylie if you're new, and today we have a little bit of a touchy subject. I would like to ponder the question, is It 2017 aging poorly? Before I begin, I just want to let you guys know that the giveaway will be announced at the end of this video, so definitely stick around, or you can skip to it. I'll put a timestamp linked down below. But, so the topic of this video, this was actually not my original plan for today's video. Today I was actually planning on comparing It from 1990 to It 2017 and It Chapter 2 from 2019. But that's obviously not happening, and that is for two reasons. Number one, I have been working non-stop, whether it be on my content, on schoolwork, I'm almost gonna be in finals week, or for actual work. I work for the production company called Slappers Only. I'll link them down below if you want to check them out. They produce like comedy sketches and stuff like that. So I have been on set working. I produce their behind the scenes content. Your girl's tired. This also means that I don't stay up as late, so I don't watch as many movies. I just don't really have as much time right now. I had watched the first half of It from 1990, and then I watched It 2017, and I still need to watch It Chapter 2 as well as the latter half of It from 1990. And that is 4.5 hours of content, and I don't have time for that right now. Anyways, that's reason number one. It was not doable. I've not had the time. Reason number two, after watching It 2017, I felt a little weird. I felt a little conflicted. I didn't like it as much as I obsessed over it in 2017, and so I felt very compelled to make this particular video. This video is going to be as spoiler-free as possible, but this movie was pretty popular at the time, even for non-horror fans. Almost everyone went to see this movie, but I'll still try to remain as vague as possible. So I'm gonna start by breaking down my thoughts on the movie when I actually first went to go see it. Now let me set the scene for you guys a little bit. So I've always been a horror fan. I was pretty into horror in high school, not to the degree that I am now, but I had always liked horror, and so when this movie was coming out, I was obviously really excited. I was also on only a second date with this person that I was really into. So I was on a date with this new person. I was also fresh out of a breakup, so and they held my hand, and so my mind was going a million miles an hour. I was super anxious because I was like, physical touch. So given that my heart rate was already really elevated, I was already very anxious just by those circumstances, this movie was extremely effective in scaring me, especially because I went into the movie not knowing what it was about. I knew that there was a clown, but I had no idea, none at all, that he was a monster clown. Now you can think I'm crazy because I don't watch trailers, but I do this for a reason. I hate having things spoiled for me, even just the tiniest little details, and so I don't typically watch trailers. So I didn't know that Pennywise was a monster. I didn't know. I went in very blind, and I'll do it again. I do it again. But also at that time, I had just recently turned 18, and I wasn't fully entrenched in horror the way that I am now. I wasn't really into Stephen King at that point. I barely knew anything about him or his stories. I didn't know much about horror history at that point, and besides like the 50s sci-fi stuff my grandpa got me into. So the moment when he opened his mouth and chomped down on Georgie's arm, when I tell you that was the most shocked I had ever been in my entire life, and I wouldn't give that moment up for anything. And this movie was full of a lot of unexpected humor, a lot of crazy big jump scares, so it was just constant surprises the entire time. So my adrenaline was killing me with this movie because I would laugh hysterically and feel great, and then there would be just a giant jump scare that would make me dissolve into my chair. I was on epic highs and terrifying lows. So because I went in completely fresh, having everything about the story and the humor and the scares, all of that being extremely shocking and organic, it effectively terrified me out of my mind, and I thought it was one of the best movies that I had ever seen. And I want to be clear that I do still really like this movie. I think it's phenomenally well made. I think it's incredibly acted. However, every time I rewatch this movie, I like it less and less for various reasons, which I'm about to get into. This movie really lives on its jump scares. A lot of them are extremely over the top, and they do this rather than kind of creating atmosphere and creating tension. A lot of the scares happen rather quickly. Almost all of them happen very fast, except for I think the very first one of the movie. There is a good build-up with the conversation between Georgie and Pennywise, and I think most of them are so fast-paced because they were trying to lean on the shock factor value of it. But with these jump scares, they were just so big. They were larger than life. I'm talking a giant version of Pennywise thrashing around a small room. I'm talking about gallons of blood bursting up out of a sink and coating an entire bathroom. And because they do this, I think one major reason why I don't like this movie as much upon a rewatch is because those things just don't really translate on a smaller screen. And as I say this, I really can't help but think that my generation is going to be the ones telling younger generations that this movie it's a classic. You had to have been there to enjoy it. You had to have seen it in a theater. You don't get it because you weren't there. I just think that this movie is 100% going to be one of the ones that my generation tries to force on younger generations. And I think it's somewhat earned. I think future generations will enjoy this movie, but I am 100% never going to be one of those people that's like, you have to enjoy this because it's a classic. Oh, you couldn't have enjoyed it as much as I did though because I was there. Because those people are just ultimate suck. So anyways, all of that being said, I do think that there is unfortunately validity in saying that you kind of needed to see this movie in a theater to have the full experience. Unless, I mean, my parents have a big TV at home and we have surround sound and stuff, so the experience is still decent. I just think that this movie was made solely with theaters in mind. I don't think that they really thought about the longevity of it, which is really unfortunate because most people, the typical person, does not have a giant TV and surround sound. Now, I'm not saying that you can't enjoy it the same amount on a small screen because everyone enjoys art in different ways for different reasons. I just don't think you can get really the full effect of Pennywise and the full effect of a lot of the scares because they were just so large. They were so grand and kind of designed for a theater experience. And maybe that's just a personal experience for me. I mean, most movies are more effective in a theater, but that could just be a personal thing. Another thing about these scares, kind of building off of that topic, is that once you know what's going to happen and you've already heard the jokes before, the shock value is gone. And honestly, you can never really get it back unless you wait like 10 years to watch the movie again or something, which I will probably have to do because, and my boyfriend can attest to this, my mind is a steel trap. I remember basically everything I've ever seen. I can memorize lines fairly quickly, especially if it was super memorable, and honestly, I'm ashamed to say this, but I have rewatched Friends so many times in my childhood that literally almost every line of every episode I could probably recite as it was playing. Same goes for all the Harry Potter movies. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa. But I have no shame about that one, so. Not me talking about Harry Potter and like not even realize that I'm wearing my Gryffindor shirt and I have a Deathly Hallows tattoo. Anyways, so this movie was extremely memorable to me given how shocking everything that happened was. And because I knew all of the jokes and a lot of the lines and I knew about everything that was gonna happen concerning the jump scares, it kind of just sucked the magic out of this movie for me. Another thing too is that I myself have aged. Like I mentioned, I saw this when I just recently turned 18 and I am now 21. I would consider myself to have been a child at that point, and I feel like this movie was definitely directed more at the late teens, like younger than 21 demographic, because in my opinion, I think this was the movie that was intended to get my generation into Stephen King so that studios could continue to milk that man and his stories for all that they were worth. I mean, they will probably continue to remake his stories. They will just continue to milk this man till the end of time. And I think they had to do this because from what I've noticed, people 30 and under aren't really into traditional horror classic movies. So it was kind of time for a generational turnover. It was time to really hook this next generation of horror fans. But anyways, now 3 years later, I'm 21 and I kind of question what exactly I found so hilarious about this movie, but I do have a theory about this now. So this movie came out the year after the first season of Stranger Things, which that was a cultural reset, let's be honest. And what was so unique about Stranger Things is that they used actual children, actual middle-aged children to play middle schoolers. Oh my god, okay, not me calling them middle-aged. Oh. Hollywood just loves to use people that are way too old to be playing the roles that they're in. They use literal 30-year-olds to play high schoolers, which is just so creepy and weird. I don't even want to get into the fact that we sexualize people that are supposed to be playing minors. Let's just not. But Stranger Things used actual kids and made them speak in the way that children their age would. I feel like a lot of times adults just can't really write children well because they censor them too much. It's like they don't realize that children are very very raunchy beings. In Stranger Things, they're the main characters. I mean, they cuss, they basically talk to each other like they're adults, which at the time, and maybe still now, that was what people wanted to see. It was brilliant. It was something new. And I also feel like it brought back adventure horror, and I don't think there is nearly enough adventure horror being produced. One of you out there, someone go do something about that, please. Which I feel like was more popular in the 80s and perhaps 90s a little bit. You know, the whole premise of a group of kids coming together to fight something paranormal, like the Goonies or Super 8, and the group always has to be all boys and one girl for some reason, which is weird because I think back on my childhood, I was out romping around the neighborhood with my girlfriends, but you never see adventure movies with groups of girls like that. There's always only one girl and she has to be white. Also, I know that in the Goonies there are 2 girls instead of just one, but she's also white. And then in Stranger Things, yes, they bring in another girl. Now there's 2 girls, also white. They're all like But those are both kid adventure movies. I don't know if those are really considered to be horror, but you get it. It was a vibe. Anyways, so It 2017 came out a year after that first season. It also brought back the whole group of boys, one girl dynamic. It was one of Stephen King's craziest stories. It also starred Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things, so of course people were obsessed. At least my age demographic was. I think the timing was just perfect with the cultural context of what people were into at the time. They completely knocked it out of the park with this movie. Also, briefly on the topic of Stranger Things before I move on, so Robert Englund has been cast to be in season 4. If you haven't seen my video from Monday discussing horror movie news, I get all into that, so check that out if you haven't. But anyways, I just feel like the hype for that kind of children 80s adventure content has died down a lot at this point, and that wave of 80s nostalgia that just has entranced the world for the past 4 or 5 years is kind of disappearing. So you don't really watch It 2017 with the same, I wish I grew up in that time period kind of energy anymore. At least that's my experience with it, because I guess had the movie relied less on the big jump scares, the shock value, it would have been a lot more rewatchable than it currently is. And not to say it's not rewatchable, I have watched this movie willingly 3 times in the past 3 years since it came out, so I just recently watched it for the 4th time. I just enjoyed it less each time, so maybe I've just watched it too many times, maybe I'm just getting tired of it, I don't know. Although, there are multiple movies that I can watch multiple times in a year and not get tired of them, like Halloween 78, Ready or Not, The Ring, Hot Rod, if you can believe that. So you tell me, have I just watched it too much? Do the scares not translate? Is the 80s nostalgia kind of dead? Is it a combination of all of it? I mean, what is it? You let me know. And maybe you guys don't think it's aging poorly at all. Maybe you love it just as much as you did back then, so let me know if that is your opinion as well. I hope that for those of you that loved it the first time you saw it, you still love it just as much now. It's kind of a bummer for me to be saying this because I loved it so much when I first saw it. I also put this movie on my top 10 creature feature list. This movie really held a special place in my heart, and I think it still will. I mean, this is still going to be a rewatchable movie for me, just I'm not gonna rewatch it quite as frequently as I have been, I guess. Because for a minute there, it was truly on my top 10 horror movies of all time list, and now I don't really see it living there anymore. On that note, that kind of wraps up the topic for today, so now we are going to cut to the giveaway, because I'm not filming that today, I'm pre-filming this, and so I have to film the giveaway announcement at a different time, you get it. So anyways, cutting to the giveaway announcement in 3, 2, 1. I guess Endora is gonna help me. What? Dora. Oh my gosh. Table. I know. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, she's back.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
Oh. So nice of you to make your appearance, Endora. That is all of them. Okay, so just went through that whole painstaking process as you saw, writing down everybody's names, and actually only 2 people accurately guessed which movies I'm giving away, and that would be It from 1990 and It from 2017. So if you guessed correctly, lucky you, you got a couple extra entries, but now I have my dad here with me, which some of you know because some of you guys have been around my channel since the beginning.
Here I am, bedhead and all.
Well, me too. Yeah, we're both in our pajamas.
Yes, we are.
But we are using my dad today and his hat.
Lucky hat.
We have all the entries here, so do you want to go ahead and maybe mix those up a bit?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have my dad choose, and as he's doing that, I want to let you guys know that he will be around next Friday as well, because we are doing a review of the movie called Run with Sarah Paulson, the new Hulu movie, and we also did a little Black Friday shopping, but we actually went on Tuesday. That's when we filmed. But that vlog will also be coming out later today, so a little bit more content with my dad coming out today, and we will be showing you our haul of new movies that we got.
Okay, so you want me to pick one?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, already? Oh my goodness. Okay. Comic Monster Studios. Wait, is it not gonna focus? I don't know if it'll focus. Okay, it doesn't want to focus on the slip of paper, but Comic Monster Studios, you are the winner of my giveaway, so go ahead and find my business email. It is attached in my About section on my YouTube channel. Send me an email with the address that you'd like me to send them to, and I hope that you enjoy your new movies and your new Halloween night pin. Thank you everybody for entering, and now back to the video. So congrats to the winner. I hope that you enjoy your pin and your copies of It from 1990 and It from 2017. Very fitting that those movies are from the giveaway, and I happen to be talking about It 2017 today. I swear I did not plan that. But to wrap up this video, I just want to remind you guys to check out my community tab. I've been interacting with you guys a lot more frequently on there, and I love that. Definitely head over there for my 2,000 subscriber special. I am just going to be doing kind of a Q&A. So ask me whatever you'd like, whatever you're curious about, whether it be my horror opinions or my personal life or whatever, but keep it appropriate. I'm not totally sure when that Q&A will be coming out. If not next week, then definitely the one after that. So stay tuned, definitely subscribe if you're new. I post 3 days a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So lots of content from me on a pretty frequent basis. I also have a vlog channel if you want to check that out. I'll link that down below. I post over there only every 2 to 3 weeks. Just miscellaneous content that doesn't belong on this channel, some vlogging, some other random topics and travels and stuff. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Depop, and Letterboxd, all at Kai Johns. All my social media will be linked down below. By the way, I don't really make TikToks, but like I'm on there. If I start to get more followers on there, who knows? Who knows what I will do? Maybe I'll start making more TikToks. As always, check out the petitions and the sources linked down below. I update those every single week. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope I catch you in the next one. Bye!